So what the Fed has done, and by the way, the tweets I put out that get the worst traction ever, worst, like almost no views, is when I criticize the Fed. Take that for what it's worth. I criticize the Fed for having thrown an entire generation under the buses. I think we should have a 50% stock wipeout so that younger people have a chance to buy.
Yeah, I know.
But the Fed has said, no, not on our watch. The people who already have the stocks should never suffer a downturn. And I find that unacceptable. What do you think?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's also it's Sisyphus trying to push the rock up the hill too. It's not it won't work. We know that. Never in the history of markets, not a single example of a market that got way over historical average value that didn't eventually return to earth. You can't name one, because it's kind of a law of nature. It's kind of a law of physics. It will come back. To say that it'll never get cheap again is a fool's errand. So they're trying to keep the boomers from losing their minds, Frank. They're trying to, and the boomers right now, now think they're in good shape. They've made their money off their Nvidia. They've made their money off various investments which are highly inflated. So they got their butt saved for the last 45 years by the Fed. Every single time the market tried to make a correction, the Fed saved it. Or in the V-bounce, as I call it, the era of the V-bounce. I think when we're finally in trouble, the V-bounces simply won't appear. And we're going to do a Nikkei, so.
Well, why is that? Because the Fed will have to back off and not print more?
Or the Fed will lose control of the bond market completely. So as they may be doing now, because as you and I both know, that the Fed started dropping rates and the interest rates on the long bonds went up, not down. And for years I've been saying that the nightmare scenario is when the bond and the stock markets are both in a bear market.
Well, that was 2022, but they rescued that, didn't they?
But it was, yeah, they did. But you know, they won't.
Remember, it was October 30th, 23. It was
starting to hurl. Yeah.
It was starting to hurl, yeah. And then just magically I wake up and somehow something happened November 1st, that evening of, out there in the overnight markets, which, for everybody listening, if you wanted to participate in any of the gains in silver or stocks, you had to play in the overnight markets. I'm sure you've seen that.
You know, I do see that. Actually, years ago, Grant Williams was one of the first people to notice that, where he looked at the returns. If you just look at dusk to dawn returns, and I saw one just the other day. Might have been by you, might have been on your comment section. I don't know, but I saw it again. Yeah, it appears as though you should close out your position. You should open up positions at 4, and close out your position at 9:30.
Eastern.
And
absolutely.
Eastern, and you'll do better. But that probably will not work once you do it, because karma is a bad thing, and you know.
But it's operated long enough that it's not a market. A market should compete away easy returns. Those have been there, Dave, for a long time.
Yeah, arbitrage. Yeah, I know.
Auto.
Well, so why is that not being dealt with by, say, BlackRock? Why are they not doing it? Why are they? I know they're probably at the heart of it, but why?
They're at the heart of it.
Why are they not arbitraging away their own market?
I don't know, because it must be a thieving operation, and this is why something I've supported for a long time. Can we please just audit the Fed? And I mean transaction level detail, right?
Right.
I want to know if there was a swap line.
You want to know what they bought.
Yeah. Is there a Cayman outfit that's magically funded that buys the market all night long or whatever? I just need to know.
I think it probably is done more covertly, in the sense that I think it probably is done by other central banks for us. So, you know, if we got to whack a dictator, the CIA doesn't do it, the Mossad does it, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, professional courtesy. Well, you know, the CME has central bank preferred incentive buying program because they're such heavy buyers, but not one central bank, Dave, will put it on their balance sheet that they own a future or an option off the CME.
I didn't know that. I tend to not pay attention at this level of detail because I'm never quite sure what to do with the information.
Well,
so sentiment indicators, for example, I don't pay any attention to. When someone says, "Oh yeah, you know, the market is, the market's, going to have a blow off top at the end of the year," I go, "I don't care. I'm not going to own that top. I'm simply not going to own it. You can blow it off all you want. But
Yeah.
at some point, the train's coming through, and whoever's on the tracks is going to end up a smudge mark, and I don't want to be
Yep.
that guy.
All right.
So-
Well, let's talk about. I want to talk about that nightmare scenario then, because you know me, I like these things. But this idea that the Fed cuts rates, but the long end starts blowing out. We saw T. Rowe Price's equity guy say maybe 6% on the 10, 6% interest rate on the 10-year by the end of the year. I think that's a nightmare.
That'll kill a lot of people. Yeah.
Put a final dagger through office CMBS paper. It'll probably put a dagger through real estate, although that seems pretty hard to kill.
And it could cause a sell-off in the bond market that goes further, right? So
Yep.
bond markets don't tend to show cascading failures the way stock markets do, but it could do that.
Yeah.
That usually looks engineered, right? The bond market usually looks engineered.
I'm reading from your year in review here, and you said here, quote, after years of watching inflation lurking in the shadows, obscured by deceptively flawed metrics, the satanic creature from Jekyll Island reared its ugly head in the fall of 2019. A disturbingly well-timed white paper from BlackRock declared that the next crisis would require the Fed to use gain-of-function monetary policy by going direct. Weeks later, the repo market went emergent and began a spasmodic 10% hikes for reasons unknown. And then, magically, COVID-19 arrived and the Fed injected an estimated $17 trillion into the system as part of the Fed backing program, requiring 14 days to flatten the economy. The way you put those dots together, Dave, it almost sounds not as accidental
Sounds
as it seemed.
suspicious, doesn't it?